Previously on the Arch Campbell Show.
This is from an A. Kornheiser.
A. Kornheiser, yes. Huh. Where's he living now?
Tony, I didn't write this.
You like this?
Of Comover Beach, Delaware.
Comover Beach, Delaware. It's up in the Delmarva. It's just a little strand of beach. Just a little strand of beach in the Delmarva. What do you get when you cross a sadomasochist with Vladimir Putin?
Nobody crosses Vladimir Putin.
No, they don't.
Hiya, friends. I'm Joe Hansard, the semi-famous actor. I'm this close to being a big shot and never having to appear on this crappy show again.
You are watching the Arch Campbell Show.
Really?
Yeah, it's what Santa gives bad kids for Christmas.
And now, lower your expectations for Arch Campbell.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Down low we go. Hello, folks, and welcome to another fun night together. And this night is huge for us. This is a huge night. Not one serious guest on the program, so I can't wait to get started. And let's start with a big hello to our dear friend. Look over in the announce corner, folks. It's Sonia Gavinkar. Sonia, dear, how are you? The big shot who does all the interviews at the museum. What are you up to these days?
Well, coming up soon with me on the Sonia Gavinkar Show. No,
really?
Any day now, I can stop being on this crappy show.
You have a cooking show.
No, I have a cooking segment that's going to be starting at WJLA and around the home and in Let's Talk Live, so you can see me cooking and burning things.
Cooking with Sonia. Well, that's exciting.
Let's get cooking.
And we love to remind everyone that you are the former Miss District of Columbia.
Yeah, former.
That was what, 1929?
Yes, 1929. It was. The weather was very similar that year as now. It was very cold.
Now, and you have promised to bring on the next Miss DC to the program.
So Miss DC. Prelims are coming up, so if you want to audition to be eventually on this show with Arch and I, you may or may not want to compete for being Miss DC. So.
Well, we love it when you're on the program.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. And everyone can see you at the museum when you
That's right. I'm actually back to work because I've been on maternity leave from the museum, so I'm back to work on the 18th. Yes. So come and see me at the museum.
We've got to do that. But now let's get into the program because we have so many of my favorite friends tonight. And would you please do us the honor of giving the first introduction?
I would love to. Arch, your first guest entertained millions of Washingtonians. None of them were sober at the time, though. But he was the host of Creature Feature on Channel 20 since then.
We loved that show. Loved it.
So good. It's so creepy. So creepy.
Yes.
Since then, he has milked his fame relentlessly, much like Arch and I have. In fact, the only way to get rid of him is to literally drive a stake through his heart. But we don't have the budget for stakes here at the Arch Campbell Show.
Stakes here.
So please welcome back the host of Creature Feature, Count Gore.
Always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Yes.
And how are things with the Count these days?
I'm doing fine, but I want to say Sonia is just my type.
What type is that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, she'll be taking you out for a transfusion after the program. Now, I wanted to have you on because you're going to host The Bride of Frankenstein over at the AFI.
Probably the best sequel ever made. Yes,
You've got like a regular gig going with them, don't you?
Hey, it all started with you when you were there about a year ago, right?
Well, you know, I've helped a lot of people's careers, except for my own.
Well, then there's
I'm
this show.
Stuck on this cable TV thing, but I'm so glad that things are going well for you.
Yeah, this is a lot of the people when they came out last year when they came out to see the House of Frankenstein, it was great to see the Universal on the big picture on the big screen.
Yeah.
And now they get to see The Bride of Frankenstein on the big screen. Plus, we're going to have the usual games and giveaways and prizes and make fools of people, and like we did back then.
And it's a regular deal now at the AFI. And I may take a vacation, so we may rerun this show. So let's just say that you can always check in and see when the count is coming to Silver Spring.
It's been about quarterly, yes, about quarterly.
Tell me about the Bride of Frankenstein. We had a little footage from the trailer, and I want to see a little bit more of that because it's so funky. And there,
well, you know, it introduces
making the bride.
It introduces Dr. Pretorius, you know, and they
looks
figured that,
like young Frankenstein, doesn't it?
well, you know, funny, it's the same set that they used in Young Frankenstein.
I know.
I mean, the Young they reversed it. Anyway,
Frankenstein wanted a mate. Oh, and there she is.
Yes.
And I don't think it was a marriage made in heaven, was it?
Not by her first reaction, no.
But, you know, we love this kind. I grew up on this kind of stuff. The monster talks.
Yes, he
Remember?
says such great things as bread and wine. Good.
Mate. Doesn't he say, isn't that one of the lines? Mate.
I want her.
So, but you'll be there with the Bride of Frank. Why, I ask you this every time you come on, why do we love creature features so much?
Because it's part of our DNA. You know, we like to be scared, but we also like to have a little humor with our scariness.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I provide.
Well,
you know, so we have a scary movie, which by contemporary standards isn't so scary, and then we have a good little fun with it also.
And you continue to do creature feature on the World Wide Web.
On the World Wide Web at www.countgore.com, yes.
And you do it from the basement of your house in Herndon. That sounds like a joke, but it's not.
Yeah, Herndon is not a joke.
Well, now, Count, we like to prepare a quiz for our guests, like you, our honored guests, and we have prepared for you the creature quiz. And Sonia, if you would, let's see you there, Sonia.
I actually have a restraining order against this man, but you see why.
Yeah, I can.
Oh,
Count,
so tasty.
you can't get within 50 feet of Sonia. That's right. Just come right through, Sonia. This is our creature quiz for you, Count Gore, and we've provided the answers for you because we don't want to embarrass our
I like
guests.
this show. It gives me the questions, it gives me the answers, gives you a headache, the whole thing.
Right here on the program. Here's your first question.
All right.
A guy walks into the emergency room and says, Doctor, I think I have a vampire bite. The doctor makes him drink a glass of water. Why does he do that?
Well, simple, to see if his neck leaks.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the jokes.
Rough crowd.
Milk it, Count. Your next question of the creature quiz. Why do vampires have no friends?
Oh, that's simple, because we're a pain in the neck.
A pain in the neck. It's the creature quiz for our dear friend, Count Gore Duvall. And finally, this may be a new one for you. It's new to me. What do you call a genius monster?
Well, that's a tough one. But it's Frank Einstein.
Frankenstein. Ladies and gentlemen, they're about to run you out of here in your own coffin. It's our dear friend, Count Gore Duvall, and let's give him a big hand, and we'll see you at the AFI. And we'll see you on your regular gig at the AFI. There you are. And if it's not this one, it's another one. So we're very happy for you. You got regular work now. Now, Sonia.
Yeah.
Are you back there?
Yeah.
You'll be fine, I think.
Eventually.
What is coming up
tonight on the Arch Campbell Show? Tonight, the Arch Campbell Show brings you the anonymous engineer.
Oh.
He takes out time from his arduous adventures to get ready for the Winter Olympics. And direct from K Street, Mr. Arthur Manson, the stand-up comedy lobbyist.
We haven't had the stand-up comedy lobbyist on in a while. We're so happy when he's here.
And he's back. Yes. And he catches us up on politics and government and find out what kind of crap we're giving away this week.
We've got some real cheap stuff we're giving away.
That's right.
The viewers love it. So
that's right. Well, that plus a lot less, and the mistakes and embarrassments and the usual mess-ups here on the Arch Campbell Show.
Thank you, ladies. Our dear friend, Sonia Gavenkar. And how is your sister, Janina? Has she found her clothes yet?
She's just working on it. You know, the winter chill. She needs to really, start putting on a layer at least.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Barry. and I won a Pulitzer Prize, or so it says on Wikipedia.
Really?
And why would they lie? But I also co-wrote a children's book called Peter and the Starcatchers, which is now a play called Peter and the Starcatcher at the Kennedy Center. And you can buy tickets there for sale. You give them money, they give you a ticket. It's like drugs, but it's tickets. Anyway, you're apparently, and there's no accounting for taste. You're watching the Art Campbell show. Arch Campbell. Yeah. You're watching the Arch Campbell show, and you're probably wondering, what's a big star like me doing on this show? And I am wondering that also.
Thank you very much. That's our dear friend Dave Barry. That wasn't a promo, it was a segment. Good grief. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel it. We've all got that Winter Olympic fever, but nobody has it better than our dear friend, the anonymous engineer, here tonight to prepare us for the big games to come. Sonia, please escort in our dear friend. It's the anonymous engineer, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. And you know, he is a highly paid, highly placed executive here at the station.
Yep.
And so we must protect your identity so you can maintain the respect of your many employees.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Hit the first joke. You're getting ready for those Winter Olympics, right, Mr. Anonymous?
Yes. I can't just be a top engineer and a top executive, so I started to take up some Olympic events. Yeah. And I haven't done real well in them. And I brought a couple photos.
You're searching for an event, but that, now, what is this?
This was me in the biathlon. And that's where you
didn't work out.
Well, no, you have to ski and shoot.
Oh.
And my sack got turned around, and I ended up shooting the judge in the half pipe. So I was disqualified.
So we won't see you in that winter event. What's this?
This is curling.
Curling?
Curling.
Yes? Well, is it hard to curl with a bag on your head?
It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying when they're coming with a broom. Are you kidding?
Certainly for the other people, I'm sure.
Yes. Now so I decided that it was time to perhaps work with a team member.
And you know, at the Winter Olympics, we love the ice skating.
And
we love the figure
I look
skating.
svelte too, don't I? I look pretty. I was in great shape then.
How's that woman doing?
Well, she left me. She left me like many do. Now this was my ski jumping, and as you can see, I'm very aerodynamic body-wise,
but
the head
downhill.
Yeah, I am, and the head just blocked the air.
It's amazing that bag would stay on with that kind of velocity.
I know, with the wind.
Velocity. Goodness.
So what I decided, though, I love the winter. We've talked about this many times, especially when you and I are in the Alps. And so I've started a new sport, and I'm doing really, really well. And here's my first picture. As you can see in the front, that's my lead dog.
That's the anonymous dog.
That's the
anonymous dog.
Yes, and so there's me, and we're mushing and having a wonderful time.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
And so now, are we all ready for is this the big finish?
This was it.
The anonymous dog. Ladies and gentlemen, with that Olympic fever, please give a big hand to our dear friend, the anonymous engineer.
Thank you.
The stand-up comedy lobbyist from K Street. Next.
Oh, baby, I love to call you baby. Oh, baby, I love for you to call me baby.
Hello, admirers. They needed to get a little prod there. Yes, it's me, Sonia Gavankar, former Miss District of Columbia. Former.
Yeah.
Now, big-time interviewer at the museum and host of Let's Get Cooking here on WJLA.
Cook me something, baby.
Oh, I will, Arch. Oh, I will. I'm this close to being a really big deal and never having to appear on this show again. But meanwhile, you can get free stuff from Arch. Just follow him on Facebook and Twitter and check our website, news8.net. And now, America's most immature dinosaur, Mr. Arch Campbell.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's our dear friend, Sonia Gavankar. You know, folks, we've had the State of the Union. We've seen Bill O'Reilly versus Super Bowl and the president. It's time for our up-to-the-minute political analysis tonight. To catch us up on the issues of the world, please welcome our dear friend, direct from K Street, the stand-up comedy lobbyist, Mr. Arthur Mason.
Hello, Arch. How are you?
So happy to see you.
I don't like people calling you a dinosaur. I looked in your entertainment file,
yes.
and I looked and I looked, and I found a stagecoach ticket going to your first event.
That's right.
I wondered about it a little bit, and you mentioned Sochi here too. You know, a friend of mine is in Sochi, called me and said that the hotel room was so small,
really
he
small.
had to go outside to change his mind. No,
I love that joke.
Thank you very much. But there's a lot going on in Capitol Hill.
Oh, yes.
But a fellow was walking on Capitol Hill, and a robber came up to him.
Robber?
A robber
on
pulled out a gun and said, "Give me your money."
Ooh.
And the fellow looked at the robber and he said, "I am a congressman." And the robber said, "Then give me my money."
Bill O'Reilly could have used that the other night, couldn't he?
Well, that's right. You know, but it's been so cold around here.
Oh gosh,
there haven't even been any heated debates. You know? No, but I had a horrible in the weather the other day.
Yes, yes.
A horrible landing. I know we have guests here from the airline.
Yes.
I went. The pilot said, "Was everything okay?" I said, "Yeah." "Did we land, or were we shot down?" I didn't know it, but listen.
It's that weather.
Yeah,
that awful weather.
It is absolutely that weather. You know, I was in politics before politics was a crime, and I want everybody to know that everything isn't criminal. But you know, we were talking to a prior guest about Sochi.
That's right.
And it reminds me of the last century when there was communism in Russia.
I remember that.
Yes, in the USSR, and a fellow walked into a car dealership and he said, "I want to buy a car." The fellow said,
Russia.
"Comrade, you haven't heard?" And he said, "Heard what?" He said, "You don't buy a car, we're going to give you a car." He said, "You're going to give me a car? Great, when do I get my car?" The fellow said, "Let me check," and he goes into his file and he checks. He says, 10 years from today. The fellow said, "Well, that's fabulous. Can I ask you a few questions?" He said, "Comrade, you can ask me anything." He said, "Okay. Do you bring it to my farm, or do I have to come down here to the dealership to get it?" He said, "No." He said, "Comrade, you're going to have to come down to the dealership to get it." And he said, "Good. Should I come down in the morning or in the afternoon?" And he said, "Comrade, it's 10 years from today. Why do you ask?" He said, "Because I have the plumber coming in the morning." You see, there are a lot of
the crowd loves it. They love you. Thank you, Arthur.
I tell you what,
the State of the Union right
well,
here.
the State of the Union, I'll tell you, it goes back to King Arthur, who went on one of his crusades, and he came back, and one of the knights came up to him.
Right, yes, to King Arthur.
And he said to King Arthur, and King Arthur said, "Thank you." I love being with him.
Right.
And King Arthur goes over to the guy, the fellow, and he says, "What's been going on since I've been gone?" And the knight says, "Well, in the east, we burned down all the villages of your enemies in the east. We took all of their food, and whatever was left, we burned. We burned it all your enemies in the east." And King Arthur says, "I don't have any enemies in the east." And the knight says, "Well, you do now."
Ladies and gentlemen, our dear friend, Mr. Arthur Mason.
Thank you.
Direct from K Street. We'll be back. That's right. I know you're excited. Folks, say goodnight to our dear friend Count Gore Duvall. We'll see you at the AFI.
Absolutely. Saturday the 15th.
It's right over there. And Arthur Mason, the stand-up comedy lobbyist. We love it when you're on the program. Sonia, always wonderful. That wound will heal right up. Please escort the anonymous engineer out of here. And don't ever bring him back. Good night, everybody.